Ever wondered how some people seem to navigate life's challenges with unwavering calm, even when darkness falls? In the next few minutes, we're going to dive into 10 powerful Stoic rules designed to reprogram your mind overnight, helping you improve your life by transforming how you approach the end of your day. We'll explore how ancient wisdom can offer modern solutions, starting with the profound idea of befriending the darkness itself. Main idea number 1. Train your mind to befriend the darkness. Imagine for a moment the setting sun painting the sky with hues of orange and purple. For many, as daylight fades, a familiar unease can creep in. The quiet of the night, instead of offering solace, sometimes amplifies our anxieties, our worries, and the relentless chatter of our minds. But what if that darkness, that stillness, wasn't a threat to be endured, but an invitation? What if it was an opportunity to connect with something deeper, something profoundly transformative? The Stoics, those ancient masters of self-mastery and inner peace, didn't view the approaching night as a time for fear or avoidance. For them, the evening's embrace of darkness and silence was not a void, but a canvas. It was a sacred space, unmarred by the distractions of the day, where one could truly meet their raw, unfiltered self. This isn't about confronting your demons in a battle, but about recognizing the quiet strength that resides within when the world outside grows hushed. Befriending the darkness, in the Stoic sense, is an active practice. It means consciously choosing to use the stillness that envelops you as the day ends to engage in a profound internal dialogue. Think of it as a nightly rendezvous with your deepest self, a time for honest conversation without judgment. Before you drift off to sleep, instead of letting your thoughts spiral into a chaotic review of your day's mishaps or tomorrow as looming tasks, you intentionally ask yourself a series of non-shaming questions. These aren't accusatory interrogations, but gentle prompts designed to guide you towards greater self-awareness and intentional living. Consider these specific questions. What aligned with who I want to become today? This question isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It encourages you to identify moments, no matter how small, where your actions, words, or even thoughts were in harmony with your core values and aspirations. Did you show kindness when anger flared? Did you choose patience over irritation? Did you speak your truth with integrity? Acknowledging these moments, however fleeting, reinforces positive patterns and reminds you of your capacity for virtue. It's like tending to a garden, appreciating the blooming flowers, not just noticing the weeds. Then ask, where did I react instead of respond? This is where the real self-reflection begins. It's an invitation to notice those instances where you allowed external circumstances or internal impulses to dictate your behavior, rather than choosing a thoughtful, principled response. Perhaps a comment at work triggered an immediate defensive retort, or a minor inconvenience led to disproportionate frustration. This question isn't about shaming yourself for failing. Instead, it's about observing your automatic patterns, understanding their triggers, and gaining clarity on how you can introduce a pause, a moment of conscious choice, next time. It's the difference between being swept away by a current and intentionally steering your boat. Finally, gently inquire, what small adjustment can I make tomorrow? This is the actionable component, the bridge between reflection and implementation. The Stoics understood that true wisdom isn't just theoretical, it's practical. This question steers you away from overwhelming self-criticism and towards tangible, manageable steps forward. It's not about overhauling your entire life in a single night. Instead, it's about identifying one tiny incremental change that could lead to a more virtuous, more aligned day. Maybe it's pausing for 5 seconds before replying to a difficult email, or consciously choosing a more grateful perspective during your morning routine. These small adjustments, compounded over time, are the bedrock of profound personal transformation. This practice, this befriending of the darkness, has a remarkable power. It removes the insidious grip that anxious thoughts often have over you. When you actively engage your mind in constructive self-inquiry, you redirect its energy away from unproductive worry and towards insightful self-discovery. The silence of the night, instead of being filled with nagging doubts, becomes a fertile ground where genuine insight and clarity can emerge. You cease to be a passive recipient of your mental landscape and become its intentional architect, shaping your inner world even as the outer world sleeps. This is how the Stoics turned what many perceive as an empty void into a powerful sanctuary for growth and inner peace. ***. Main idea number 2. Practice the evening inventory without self-punishment. ***. Following the profound act of befriending the darkness comes another cornerstone of Stoic nighttime practice, the evening inventory. This isn't just a casual mental recap. It's a disciplined, yet compassionate, review of your day, deeply influenced by the teachings of figures like Seneca. The crucial distinction here, one that Seneca himself emphasized, is between reflection and rumination. Many people confuse the two, mistakenly believing that endlessly replaying mistakes or dwelling on negative events is a form of self-improvement. The Stoics, however, saw rumination for what it truly is, a form of self-punishment, a mental loop that drains energy without offering solutions. Reflection, on the other hand, is a vastly different beast. Imagine a scientist meticulously examining data, not to condemn the experiment, but to understand the results, identify variables, and plan for future, more effective trials. Or picture a wise gardener walking through their thriving plot at dusk, not to criticize every withered leaf, but to note what plants need more water, what soil needs amending, or where a bit of pruning would encourage new growth. This is the essence of Stoic reflection. It is objective, discerning, and geared towards learning and improvement, devoid of the emotional baggage of blame or regret. The evening inventory, therefore, is not a highlight reel of your failures. It's not about cataloging every misstep to beat yourself up. Instead, its purpose is to extract lessons. It's about providing your sleeping mind with a sense of closure, not by forgetting, but by processing. By consciously reviewing the day through a Stoic lens, you prevent those unresolved emotional currents from churning beneath the surface during your sleep, potentially leading to restless nights or waking anxieties. You're consciously tidying up your mental house before turning out the lights. To practice this, mentally walk through the moments of your day that carry emotional weight. These aren't necessarily the big, dramatic events, but often the small, interpersonal interactions or internal struggles that left a lingering feeling. Perhaps a difficult conversation with a colleague, a moment of impatience with a loved one, or an internal battle with procrastination. As you recall these instances, the key is to assess them with an objective, philosophical distance. Ask yourself, did I respond with wisdom, or did I react impulsively? Responding with wisdom, for a Stoic, means aligning your actions with virtue, with courage, justice, temperance, and practical wisdom. It means exercising control over your internal judgments, recognizing what is within your power and what is not, and choosing a response that serves your highest self, rather than being swept away by external provocations or fleeting emotions. Did you demonstrate patience when you felt annoyed? Did you speak truthfully even when it was difficult? Did you act with fairness, even if it meant inconvenience for yourself? Conversely, reacting often stems from our passions, anger, fear, desire, pleasure, when they override our rational judgment. It's the impulsive snap, the quick judgment, the indulgence in a fleeting pleasure that goes against your long-term goals. When you identify these reactive moments, the purpose is not to wallow in guilt. Instead, it's to understand the trigger, to recognize the pattern, and to envision a more virtuous response for the future. It's a practice of self-correction, not self-condemnation. This nightly review, when done correctly, reinforces your commitment to Stoic principles. It makes abstract philosophical ideas tangible by connecting them directly to your daily lived experience. It strengthens your internal monitor, making you more aware of your mental and emotional states throughout the following day. By consistently engaging in this compassionate yet rigorous self-assessment, you gradually refine your character, sharpen your judgment, and cultivate a deeper sense of inner tranquility. You're not just observing your life, you're actively shaping it, one mindful evening at a time, preparing your mind not just for restful sleep, but for a more intentional and virtuous tomorrow. Ever felt like you're constantly auditioning for an invisible panel of judges? You walk into a room, about to share an idea, or maybe just go about your day, and there they are, the phantom critics, scrutinizing your every move, silently dissecting your worth. It's a universal struggle, this battle against the committee meeting of people you imagine are judging you. And it's draining. But what if I told you that the vast majority of these relentless judges are entirely fictional, a projection of your own deepest fears, and that you hold the power to disband their court, revoke their invitations, and reclaim your peace of mind, not just for a moment, but for good? Imagine for a second a bustling ancient marketplace. Dust motes dance in the sunlight, scents of spices and fresh bread mingle in the air. A figure, perhaps a philosopher, sits quietly amidst the cacophony, observing. This was not unlike the world of Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who, despite holding immense power, also wrestled with the opinions of others. He observed with a poignant irony how readily we value the assessment of others over our own internal compass, our own honest self-assessment. Think about it. How often do you prioritize what someone asterisk might asterisk think over what asterisk you asterisk know to be true for yourself? You spend countless hours, an immense amount of mental energy, rehearsing arguments, second-guessing decisions, and replaying interactions, all because of this perceived audience. This is not productivity. It's an energy drain, a self-imposed prison of perception. The Stoic solution, radical in its simplicity, is to revoke the invitation to this imaginary audience. It's us to recognize that the critical version of them you carry in your head, the one whispering doubts, planting seeds of fear, and dictating your actions, is not reality. It is a projection, a shadow cast by your own anxieties. Your goal, then, is not to impress this phantom committee, but to stop outsourcing your self-worth. It's to silence the external noise, and instead, answer only to your internal compass, to your own unwavering integrity. When you do that, when you finally shut down that internal committee meeting, you'll discover an immense reservoir of mental energy you didn't even know you had. This liberation leads us to another profound realization about the mental burden we carry daily, especially concerning the future. Have you ever noticed how much of your day is spent not asterisk doing asterisk, but asterisk worrying asterisk about what might happen next week, next month, or even next year? You might call it planning, but if we're honest, it often feels more like a frantic dance with an invisible monster of what-ifs. This constant mental churn, this exhausting anticipation of future problems, is often exhaustion disguised as productivity. We convince ourselves that by worrying hard enough, we can somehow control the uncontrollable. I remember a time, years ago, when I was launching a new project. Every day was a relentless internal battle. I'd spend hours mentally rehearsing every potential pitfall, every possible criticism, every way it could fail. I wasn't actually working on the project. I was just worrying about it, believing that my intense anxiety was a form of preparation. I'd end the day utterly drained, yet nothing tangible had been accomplished beyond my own mental torment. Real preparation, the kind that actually serves you, means doing what you can with the resources you have, and then, crucially, releasing your attachment to specific outcomes. When that familiar wave of anxiety about the future surfaces, the gnawing feeling that things might go wrong, that your plans could unravel, that uncertainty looms, the Stoic response is not to fight it, but to accept it. It's a calm internal declaration. Yes, that's uncertain. And uncertainty is not a flaw in the system. It is an inherent, unavoidable part of being alive. I'll handle this one too, if and when it comes. This isn't about resignation. It's about empowerment. It's about understanding that you have handled challenges before, and you will handle future ones. This approach frees the mind from the exhausting, futile work of trying to predict and control every variable. It allows you to invest your energy into the present moment, into the actions you can take, rather than squandering it on hypotheticals. It's about building a resilience that doesn't demand certainty, but thrives in spite of its absence. And speaking of demanding things, let us talk about perhaps the most insidious demand of our modern age: the relentless pressure to produce, to achieve, to constantly be on. We've been subtly, or not so subtly, programmed to believe that our value as a person is directly proportional to our output, our accomplishments, our never-ending grind. If you're not busy, you're lazy. If you're not producing, you're worthless. This belief, I tell you, is complete nonsense by Stoic standards. It's a modern construct designed to keep us perpetually running on a hamster wheel, constantly chasing an ever-moving finish line of self-worth. Even an emperor like Marcus Aurelius, a man whose daily responsibilities dwarfed anything most of us will ever face, defined his purpose in the simplest, most profound terms: being human. His worth wasn't tied to the number of decrees he issued or the battles he won, but to his character, his integrity, his humanity. The Stoics understood that character, integrity, and your innate humanity exist entirely independent of what you produce or accomplish. Your worth isn't something you earn through a tally of achievements. It's intrinsic. It's there simply because you exist. Think about it. A newborn baby has immense worth, but produces nothing. An elder in deep reflection, contributing wisdom, but perhaps no tangible output, is still invaluable. Why, then, do we allow our adult selves to be shackled by this transactional view of self-worth? The constant pressure to be productive often leads us to view rest as a luxury, a reward that must be earned after an exhaustive period of accomplishment. But the Stoics, and indeed any sensible perspective on human well-being, understood that rest is not a reward. It is a fundamental necessity for health, for mental clarity, for sustained well-being. It is as vital as food and water. You wouldn't deny yourself water because you haven't earned it, would you? Yet we often deny ourselves proper rest, feeling guilty if we're not constantly doing. Releasing your worth from your productivity means understanding that your value is not a negotiation. It means giving yourself permission to rest, to simply asterisk the asterisk, without the crushing weight of external validation. It means recognizing that true strength comes not from endless toil, but from honoring your human need for rejuvenation and self-care. So, the core message here is profound. Much of the mental baggage we carry, the exhaustion, the anxiety, the feeling of not being enough, stems from externalizing our self-worth and battling imaginary foes. We exhaust ourselves by trying to please an audience that doesn't exist, by trying to control a future that is inherently uncertain, and by believing our value is conditional on our output. But what if, instead, we could learn to bring our self-worth back home, accepting our intrinsic value, embracing uncertainty as a fundamental part of life, and disbanding that nagging imaginary committee for good? Imagine the clarity, the peace, the sheer mental energy you'd unlock. Imagine what you could truly achieve when you're no longer fighting these internal battles. The path to reprogramming your mind overnight isn't about some secret trick. It's about a fundamental shift in perspective, one that the Stoics mastered millennia ago. And while these three principles are powerful, they are just the beginning of a deeper journey. There are 7 more vital rules, ancient wisdom waiting to transform your everyday, that will cement this newfound freedom and truly improve your life, not just overnight, but for every day that follows. What if I told you the very thing holding you back, your deepest regrets, could be transformed into your greatest superpower? We all have those moments, don't we? That gnawing feeling, the replay button stuck on a past mistake, whispering that you've ruined everything. It's a toxic narrative, a self-inflicted poison that keeps you trapped. But what if I told you there's a radical Stoic secret to flipping that script, to turning every past misstep into pure, unadulterated fuel for a better future? Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a promising young artist, her canvases vibrant with dreams. But a few years back, under immense pressure, she made a critical error in a major art competition, leading to a public embarrassment that derailed her confidence. For months, she couldn't touch a brush. Every time she thought about painting, the shame would wash over her, the memory of that moment playing on an endless loop. I ruined everything, she'd tell herself. I'm not good enough. This wasn't just regret, it was paralysis. It was poison. She was convinced her artistic journey was over, that she was fundamentally flawed. It wasn't until she stumbled upon Stoic philosophy that something began to shift. She learned about the concept of viewing past mistakes not as permanent scars, but as raw material for wisdom. The Stoics understood that the person who made that past mistake isn't the same person you are today. You are a changed individual, enriched by experience and, crucially, by knowledge. Instead of replaying the moment of failure, Sarah started to ask different questions. What didn't I understand then that I understand now? She pondered. How did that excruciating experience actually shape me for the better? This seemingly small shift was monumental. Sarah realized that the mistake wasn't a flaw in her character, but a lesson she needed to learn about managing pressure, about technique, about self-compassion. The shame began to recede, replaced by a quiet determination. She wasn't practicing regret anymore, that debilitating cycle of self-blame. Instead, she was practicing remorse, a commitment to making better choices, armed with newfound wisdom. She started painting again, slowly at first, then with renewed passion. Her new work carried a depth, a resilience, that her earlier pieces lacked. She had transformed the poison of regret into the fuel for her artistic rebirth. This isn't about ignoring your past. It's about harnessing it. It's about understanding that the painful echoes of yesterday are not meant to immobilize you, but to inform you. Every single misstep, every stumble, every perceived failure holds a crucial lesson, a piece of wisdom waiting to be extracted. You are not defined by your past mistakes. You are refined by them. The true power lies in choosing remorse over regret, in committing to grow rather than being paralyzed by shame. This principle alone can be the difference between a life stuck in neutral and a life actively moving forward, propelled by hard-won wisdom. But what if you could take that control even further, not just by transforming your past, but by deliberately shaping your present to inoculate yourself against future hardships and ignite a profound sense of gratitude? Imagine a world where everyday comforts are no longer taken for granted, but are savored, deeply appreciated, simply because you've chosen to experience their absence. Think about our modern lives. We're constantly surrounded by comfort. Soft beds, warm homes, readily available food, climate control. While these are certainly privileges, they can also lull us into a state of unconscious expectation, making us fragile when life inevitably throws a curveball. When discomfort strikes, as it always will, whether it's a sudden job loss, a broken heater, or a simple power outage, our minds often react with panic, frustration, and a deep sense of injustice. We become emotionally unmoored because we've forgotten what it's like to truly feel discomfort, and more importantly, to overcome it. The ancient Stoics, in their incredible wisdom, understood this vulnerability. They didn't see discomfort as something to be avoided at all costs, but as a teacher, a trainer for the mind. They would deliberately practice small hardships, what they called voluntary discomfort. This wasn't about self-punishment or seeking pain for pain's sake. It was a conscious, strategic exercise in building resilience. They might choose to eat a simple, bland meal when a feast was available, or sleep on a hard surface instead of a soft one, or even walk barefoot for a short while. Why? Not to suffer, but to steel their minds, to prove to themselves that they could function and even thrive without their usual conveniences. It was a form of mental vaccination. Consider Mark, a busy executive who was constantly stressed and found himself perpetually complaining about minor inconveniences. Traffic, a slow internet connection, a slightly chilly office. These everyday irritations would send him into a spiral of negativity. His gratitude, if it existed, was buried deep under a mountain of petty complaints. Then he read about voluntary discomfort. Intrigued, he started small. One evening, instead of his usual gourmet dinner, he opted for a simple bowl of rice and beans. The next morning, he chose to take the stairs instead of the elevator, even though his office was on the 10th floor. He started turning off the heat for an hour in his apartment on a cold evening, just to feel the chill. What happened? Initially, it was, well, uncomfortable. The bland food was a stark contrast to his usual meals. His legs ached from the stairs. The cold was certainly noticeable. But then, a subtle shift began. When he finally turned the heat back on, the warmth felt incredibly luxurious, almost divine. That simple bowl of rice and beans made his next regular meal taste exponentially better. After climbing those stairs, sitting down at his desk felt like a profound privilege. He started noticing the contrast. He would consciously sit on his hard kitchen floor for 3 minutes each morning, just to feel the difference when he eventually sat on his soft, plush sofa. This wasn't about enduring hardship. It was about generating genuine gratitude through conscious contrast. It built a mental toughness within him. When his car broke down a month later, instead of panicking, he found himself surprisingly calm. "I've walked further than this before," he thought. When a client meeting ran late and he missed lunch, the hunger wasn't a catastrophe. It was just a sensation, one he knew he could manage. He had, through deliberate practice, recalibrated his mind. He was no longer a slave to comfort, but its appreciative master. The core message here is profound. By intentionally stepping outside our comfort zones in small, manageable ways, we build an internal fortress of resilience. We inoculate ourselves against the inevitable shocks of life. We learn that we are capable of far more than we imagine, and that our happiness isn't dependent on external conditions. Moreover, this practice sharpens our appreciation for what we already have. It transforms mundane comforts into moments of profound gratitude. The soft bed isn't just a bed, it's a haven. The warm meal isn't just sustenance, it's a blessing. It allows us to truly savor the richness of our lives, even amidst the chaos. Because when you deliberately seek out the edges of your comfort, everything within it suddenly feels infinitely more precious. So, how will you transform your past regrets into powerful fuel? And what small discomfort will you embrace today to unlock a deeper appreciation for your life? The answers to these questions hold the key to reprogramming your mind, not overnight, but one conscious, deliberate step at a time. And if you're ready to dive even deeper into these Stoic rules and discover the other principles that can truly revolutionize your mental landscape, you'll want to stay tuned. Have you ever felt like you're constantly running on a treadmill, chasing a finish line that keeps moving further away? Like every day is just a rehearsal, a stepping stone to some elusive tomorrow when your real life finally begins? It's exhausting, isn't it? I used to feel that way all the time. I'd push myself thinking, once I finish this project, or once I achieve that goal, then I can truly relax and enjoy life. But that goal would just be replaced by another, and the feeling of fulfillment was always temporary, always just out of reach. It was a cycle of perpetual preparation, and it left me drained, never feeling fully present or accomplished. The Stoics, with their ancient wisdom, offer a powerful antidote to this modern affliction, a profound shift in perspective that can bring immense peace and presence to your daily life. They understood that this relentless pursuit of a future perfect is a trap, a mental habit that robs us of the richness of the present moment. Their teachings reveal two vital rules that, when embraced, can fundamentally reprogram your mind and dramatically improve your daily experience, helping you break free from this exhausting cycle. Let's dive into these transformative, Stoic principles that can help you reclaim your days and redefine your pursuit of happiness. First, let's talk about ***, treating each day as complete, not as preparation for tomorrow ***. Imagine waking up each morning with a mental checklist of things you must do, not for today's sake, but for some grand future achievement. You push through, feeling like today is merely a means to an end, a fragment of a larger, unfinished puzzle. This mindset, where every day is a dress rehearsal for a future that never truly arrives in the way we anticipate, inevitably leads to burnout and a pervasive sense of unfulfillment. The Stoics recognized this profound error in thinking. They taught us that each day in itself is a full circle, not a fragment. It is a complete experience, a self-contained unit of life that deserves to be lived and acknowledged in its entirety. Think of it like a beautiful piece of music. Each day is a movement, not just a series of notes leading to the grand finale. The practice here is profoundly simple, yet incredibly powerful. At the close of each day, regardless of what transpired, the triumphs, the frustrations, the unfinished tasks, mentally close that day's chapter. Acknowledge what happened, accept it for what it was, and internally signal to your brain that today's business is finished. This isn't about giving up or ignoring responsibilities. It's about drawing a clear boundary. It's about consciously granting yourself permission for restoration, for a true mental and emotional reset. When you treat each day as complete, you allow your mind to disengage from the endless loop of future-oriented anxiety. You give yourself the gift of genuine rest, making space for renewal and ensuring that you don't carry the weight of yesterday as unfinished business or tomorrow as looming challenges into your sleep. This simple ritual, consistently applied, can dramatically reduce stress, improve your sleep quality, and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the present moment. It liberates you from the mental burden of perpetual preparation and allows you to greet each new morning with a refreshed mind, ready to embrace its unique full circle. Now, let's consider the second profound rule. ***, building a philosophy of enough, not a philosophy of more. ***. We live in a culture that relentlessly worships constant accumulation. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with messages telling us we need more. A bigger house, a faster car, more exotic vacations, more accolades, more followers, more money. This ceaseless pursuit of more can become an insatiable hunger, a never-ending quest that keeps us perpetually dissatisfied. The Stoics, long before the age of advertising and social media, understood the inherent danger of this mindset. They advocated for something revolutionary, defining and embracing enough as the fundamental cornerstone of true peace and contentment. Without a clear definition of sufficiency, the goalpost constantly moves. You achieve one milestone, only to find that your mind has already set its sights on the next, slightly higher one. This creates a relentless, sleepless, and often desperate chase for something that perpetually remains just beyond your grasp. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never feels full. The Stoics taught that genuine peace and lasting contentment stem from internal sufficiency, not from external abundance. It's not about how much you have but about how much you feel you need. The practical application of this wisdom involves a deeply personal and liberating exercise, defining your enough. Take the time to consciously reflect on what enough truly means for you in various aspects of your life. What is enough money to live comfortably and securely? What constitutes enough health to feel vibrant and capable? What does enough look like in your relationships to feel loved and connected? By defining these boundaries, you create a metaphorical finish line. This isn't about settling for mediocrity or ceasing to strive for improvement. On the contrary, it allows you to pursue growth and betterment from a place of sufficiency rather than desperation. When you know you already have enough, any further pursuit becomes a choice rooted in desire for improvement, not an anxious necessity driven by a feeling of lack. This shift fundamentally alters your relationship with your goals and desires, transforming them from demanding masters into fulfilling endeavors. It frees you from the relentless comparison trap and the constant anxiety of scarcity, allowing you to experience true abundance and peace in the present moment. So, how can you start applying these powerful Stoic rules to reprogram your mind? Begin by consciously closing the chapter on each day, acknowledging its completeness before you rest. Then, dedicate time to define what enough truly means for you across the crucial areas of your life, your finances, your health, your relationships. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are actionable mental practices that, when consistently applied, can profoundly reshape your inner world. Embracing these two Stoic rules, treating each day as complete, and building a philosophy of enough, isn't about stagnation. It's about finding freedom. It's about liberating yourself from the tyranny of an endless tomorrow and the insatiable hunger for more, allowing you to live with greater presence, peace, and genuine contentment today. If these Stoic insights resonated with you, and you're ready to embrace a life of greater peace and purpose, make sure to show your support. Give this video a like if it sparked a new perspective. Share it with someone who might benefit from these powerful ideas. And leave a comment below telling me which of these two rules you're most excited to implement. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more wisdom that can help you reprogram your mind and truly improve your life.